All right, we are live.
Cool. Are there people on yet?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome if anyone is watching this yet. Let's see if this is, yeah, it's a little better. Well, I have the tournament stuff all set up, so I'm ready. Bless you. Well, let me know when you want me to start yapping, and I'll start.
All right, you're now the main host.
Okay, thanks.
All right, looks like we're going to get started in about 5 minutes. All right, we're going to get started in about 4 minutes.
Sounds good.
Excited for a really good event today.
Yeah, same here. From a coach's perspective, it's really nice to watch all these games at once because you can see the typical strengths and weaknesses of each rating group. So that's very helpful to me when I'm thinking about my students and planning lessons.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, I have a theory about the main area that each group needs to improve, and I'll share that theory once the tournament begins as we go through each section.
All right, so we're getting ready to publish the round 1 pairings for Future Masters. So we have 10 players in the section. So very excited for another competitive Future Masters section today.
Great. Oh, I see a lot of familiar names.
All right, so we're going to be starting the round in roughly 1 minute. We published the pairings, so it should be starting momentarily.
Nice. Yeah, I see some kids I know from like in-person stuff, and then I see some kids I know from just online classes. Nah, these guys are good.
so we have 3 sections today. We have Future Masters, we have Reserve, and we have Primary. So
Nice.
definitely going to be a really fun day of chess today. All right, I'm going to start round 1.
Sounds good.
It is 11. And Abby, you can share your screen. And we can get started.
All right, cool. Oh, okay, they already started. Nice.
Yes, we just started.
Do you want me to start with Future Masters?
Yes, that's the only section that's started so far.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so like I was saying, there's a lot of names I recognize. It's going to be really competitive. All right, let's just take it from the top. So it looks like in the first game, that's right over to the left, we have a possible Goring Gambit. So what a gambit is when you offer a pawn or sometimes several pawns in order to usually get a lead in development or some kind of initiative.
I know it's a favorite opening of mine.
Yeah, the Goring's great. So it looks like Black declined the gambit, at least for now. They didn't take on c3. They played knight f6. I'm not sure. That could get you into trouble because now you see White played e5, forcing the knight to move again. And then White just takes on d4. And White owns the center, while that knight on d5 doesn't look that secure. So I would say advantage to White from the opening, but still very close. Then in game number 2, the game that's in the middle here, okay, looks like a Kali system. Black does the setup that I also do. So it looks just very even at this point. And then over here on the right, we have, well, what I would call the modern defense with after e4 playing g6. I know it goes by some other names as well. But basically, Black is conceding the center in order to try to undermine it from the side. So watch that bishop on g7. It might be on the side, but it's still aimed towards the center. And Black may do things like pawn to c5 to undermine it later. So this is really cool because all 3 of these games are extremely different openings. With very different structures and different ideas. So hopefully we can, go deep into each game and learn a lot of different things.
Yeah, that's true.
Then here at the bottom, looks like this game is more advanced or farther along. Trying to guess what it is. It could be like a Caro-Kann where White traded on d5 and then played c4, what I play. But I'm not sure.
So are you saying it might have been like a Panov but Finnick?
Mm-hmm.
So is the pawn supposed to be on c5?
Yeah, you can push it to c5. It leads
Okay.
to a different kind of game. I almost never do that. I usually leave the pawn on c4 in order to put pressure on the center. But you can go c5 also.
Okay.
That was a really interesting game.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, all the games are very close. No one's like really gone away yet. Oh, well, yeah, in game number 5, Black looks like they made an error.
It's interesting because this is something that I've been seeing a lot in Scholastic games. So we've been running a lot of online classes this summer, which have been great. And I've been seeing a lot of kids doing this this strategy. So it looks like, there is a strong threat that White is doing. And, I'm not really sure the best way to get out of this situation, but I've just been seeing it. I feel like instead of the knight being on c6. If black had just played c6, the knight wouldn't have been able to go to that square. So it's interesting. I've been seeing a lot of this summer. So I've actually I've never seen it before this summer. So it must be a new strategy that came out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's okay. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it is pretty easy to stop it. And in this case, yeah, once you play knight c6 and you allow this knight b5, bishop f4, yeah, black is gonna have to try to find a way out of that. We'll see what they choose to do.
Yeah, I remember, as a kid.
Okay, they played
yeah.
e5. Yeah, that's what I was also thinking.
Yes, I remember as a kid, I would always go for that fork. Like it was always something that I loved doing. Like, I would get my pieces together and I would just go for the fork. So brings me back to my youth.
It's kind of funny because it's just like the fried liver, which happens on the other side of the board where you attack f7 with a bishop and a knight. But now it's like they're switching targets to c7.
Yeah.
All right, well. Yeah, it looks like board 4 is going pretty quickly. So one thing we always say is to take your time. It's tempting to rush when you're playing online. But yeah, I mean, it's a complicated position. Like, I'm not even sure what I would be doing here for white. And it looks like, white's moving pretty fast. And black also. They're actually both playing pretty quickly. So one tip, I was thinking of using with my students to help slow them down is on each turn, always come up with 2 or 3, sometimes even 4 candidate moves or possible moves before you start even analyzing. So that's automatically going to slow you down if you have to come up with 3 possible moves.
Yeah, very good. Especially since, there's 40 minutes and you have an increment.
Yeah, I mean, that being said that they're playing so fast, their moves look okay. I mean, I can't even tell if it's the best, though, because it's going so quickly. But yeah, knight g4 makes a lot of sense, the move that black had done a couple moves ago, because it trades off white's strong knight on e5. But I mean, just compare this game to like board 5, where they played maybe 5 moves.
Yeah, definitely important to slow down. It can be very tempting to play fast since, we're not, playing physically seeing our opponent. But, you want to treat these games as, a training exercise.
Oh, very interesting. In board 5, white decided to go bishop g3.
Interesting.
Okay. I mean, I was expecting d takes e5. Bishop g3 makes a lot of sense too.
Yeah. All right, let's go up to the top game, like the 1, 2, and 3, the above.
All right. Looks like there's trouble on the d file on board 1. Right, this is the one started off as a possible Goring gambit. Oh, so maybe white sacrificed the d pawn in order to go rook to d1. Yeah, I mean, whenever you have a rook lined up with a queen on a file, it's very dangerous for the side with the queen because any piece you have on the d file will be pinned.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like pins are a common theme today because if you look at board 2, there's also a big pin in the middle.
Oh, there's yeah, both these pins don't look quite deadly yet. We'll see. But yeah, there's another pin, this time on a diagonal. Oh, and then it looks like, board 3, white 1.
Oh, looks like There was a nice was it a discovery?
Yeah, it looks like what I'm guessing is bishop took on f7, and after king takes, then queen on d1 took on d8.
Oh, right.
And I mean, just again, about taking your time. I mean, look at the time. You know, white took 6 minutes. It looks like black took hardly any time at all.
So again, it could be very tempting to play fast, but you have a lot of time in these games. You want to use your time.
Yeah. Well, that's a tough loss. So going back to board one, yeah, I mean, I thought after c6, which black looks like they just played, looks okay. Like white definitely has some pressure though. And actually, the big thing is black still isn't castled. So that's going to take a tempo to castle. And that might give white some time then to develop some threats. Yeah, I'm really interested to see what white comes up with. Like, this is definitely a critical moment here. If white doesn't find something good, oh, I thought they were down a pawn, but yeah, it would just be equal. Yep, and on board two, yeah, I mean, white does, I think, the only move, really, which is to take on c6. Otherwise, let's say they just move the knight to g4, you'd lose the bishop on f4. So black is an interesting choice. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if they take the knight or take the bishop. Taking the bishop makes sense, since now this knight on c6 has to move, not really to a great spot. And that just gives black more time to develop their pieces.
Definitely. All right. Looks like the reserve section is getting ready to start in about 3 minutes.
Nice. So I was going to share my theory on like the main area that each group has to work on. And these aren't these guys in particular, just this rating group. Is that for the future masters, usually players at this level, I think the best thing to help them is to break some bad habits. Like at this point, these players, they've been playing a while. They've sort of settled into some good strategies that they're using. But usually there's at least one bad habit. Maybe they trade too much, or they don't castle. I mean, it could really be anything. And if you can, so generally I see one or two bad habits, and then once you break those, they're ready to go to the next level.
Exactly. So I've also found that there's large jumps in this rating range. So once they break one of their habits, or they kind of settle the habit, kind of like just make their game strengthen their strengths, then they see a large rating jump.
Yeah. So Alana, what would you say? Like, do you think breaking bad habits is one of the weaknesses of this group, or what do you think about that?
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree, because what worked for you at a lower level might not work for you when you get to a new rating range. So
That's
you're
a
going to
good
have
point.
to adapt, because you are playing against players that are higher rated, and they have a higher skill level than the ones that are lower rated.
Yeah, and I'm noticing it on board 4. It looks like Hunter's really taking his time, and I know that's something he's been working on. So good.
Good job, Hunter.
And it's showing, yeah, it's paying off, because he definitely has the better position, I would say. Or actually, oh wait, is he down a pawn? Oh no, all right, we can't say that then. But he has compensation for the pawn.
All right, looks like reserve is going to start in roughly 1 minute. It's almost 11:15.
Oh, there's some. Okay, looks like. Okay.
We have a lot of Avenese kids in reserve.
All right, we'll go there in a second, but okay. Looks like Black on board 2 is showing off some tactics. So earlier they played knight takes c3, and if white had recaptured, then queen takes c3, forks the king and the rook, well, and the knight. And then white played queen c2. So then the knight on c3 was pinned. If it moved, white could just take the queen. But then black played a5, and it actually had trapped the knight on b4. So that went a little fast. I'd have to check to make sure that that's all good, but looks like black calculated correctly. And, well, let's see. What would the material be? Yeah, after, I think what should happen after that happens, it would just be even material, but maybe white has a weaker pawn structure. We'll see, but
Yeah.
some good tactics, yeah.
Yeah, I also wanted to note that reserve just started, and there is an odd number of players in the reserve. So if you don't see yourself paired, don't worry, you're in the tournament. You just have a bye for the first round. So no worries. You will get 3 more games, so you can sit back, relax, and watch some of the games in your section.
So it looks like this is game 25. Is that right?
Yes, with a 5-second increment.
Okay, and Future Masters is 40 minutes with 5-second increment?
Yes.
So I'm just thinking back to that game on board 3. So black didn't use any time at all. They still had all the 40 minutes. That is not good.
Yeah, you want to make sure you take your time.
All right, so it looks like we have, what was this, a French, oh, sorry, Caro-Kann defense on board 1. Good, good. Board, was this in English? Okay. So white's playing the long game on board 2. Yeah, it looks like an English opening. I don't know much about it. But okay. Looks good. Well, I'd have to see what the first few moves were. Could be like a Scotch game where black played d6, or maybe a Philidor where black played d6 on the second move. Looks like white may have a chance to come out ahead here. Yeah, so white played bishop e3. Well, let's see what black does before. I think white had something stronger, though. All right, looks like black traded knights, which was good. So white could have won a pawn with just knight takes d4, pawn takes, queen takes d4. So when you're analyzing a position, always look at the forcing moves, which are checks, captures, or threats first, because those moves can potentially give you a better position.
Agreed.
Got to consider those moves first. Yeah, so that was a missed opportunity for white, but white looks okay. Yeah, again, all the games are getting off to very even starts. No one's being blown out of the water right away.
Then we have primary starting at 11:30. So 12 minutes until game time.
Then we have, all right, Haley and Ottman. Looks like, I'm guessing Sicilian. Yeah, I would say here I prefer black's position because they have what's called the 2 bishops. So notice that both sides have a knight, but then black has 2 bishops against a bishop and a knight. And the 2 bishops can be really strong. Bishops are just a little bit better than knights because they're much faster pieces. When you have 2 bishops working together, they control both colors of the board, the dark squares and the light squares. But white's okay, though. So for this group, what I'd say the main area of weakness I see is, so they're not as advanced as the future masters. So they haven't really had time to form those habits necessarily, good or bad. But they know enough about chess that they have started to come up with their own ideas. And usually there's a few odd ideas that this group has. Like they only like to attack with knights or something. Like I think a while ago we had a student who always would start off with his knights. So just kind of like odd ideas that, I don't know, you'd have to, that's why it's good to go over your games with a coach, because sometimes you don't see those. It's harder to see those ideas in the actual game, but when they're talking about the game, you start to hear some of the same ideas over and over, and some of them just are a little odd. They're not quite right, and you want to fix them. Another example is I remember a student talking about how they thought that when your opponent castles on one side of the board, you should always try to castle on the other side. So, I mean, It's not like a bad idea necessarily, but it's not quite correct, and it can lead them to sometimes doing some strange things. In most cases, you castle king side. That's the most convenient way to castle, except maybe in like the Sicilian. So that's my theory, that there's just some odd ideas this group has, and you want to try to change them or just maybe tweak them even just a little bit. So Alana, what do you think about that?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely know exactly what you're talking about.
You've probably come across some odd ideas when you've been teaching, right? Can you think of any?
I mean, there's so many.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like you have to actually work with the student to know what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I definitely have come across is that, kids, they think they have to memorize everything. So I feel like, there's one student I was working with who said, okay, I know like the first 15 moves of the Sicilian dragon. And I had to explain to them that, it's not about, memorizing the moves. It's about understanding why those moves are played. So just getting them into the mindset of understanding chess rather than just, mimicking moves that other players have played.
Oh, that's great. So that's kind of like a studying error. So yeah. I was just thinking of, I remember another student who just really loved bishops, and he loved them more than his rooks. So he'd always sacrifice his rooks for bishops, or he'd rather give up a rook than a bishop. And it's like, no, you got to change your mindset. So sorry. In the meantime, looks like on board 3, White came up with this really strong attack. I wish I saw how that developed. I'm guessing that maybe he sacrificed his bishop on h6 or on g7, and that just opened up the king. But then how did the rooks get there so fast? Well, nice job on board 3 for White. That's a tough loss for Black. I mean, maybe Black played, no, I don't know. I would just, if you played that game, go back and take a look at it. And then on board 1, it looks like White was, yeah, it looks like White just broke through. So I'm not exactly sure what happened in this game. Looks like White had a pin on a knight on d7, and then was able to just come in and get Black's king. So maybe the lesson there for Black was to castle earlier. Looks like that never happened.
Yeah, by the way, I just remembered something that kids told me, kind of like an odd thing that a kid told me.
Okay.
They said it was bad to castle because whenever they castle, they would get checkmated. So they were adamant that to leave the king in the center of the board was stronger than to castle.
Yeah, that's a great example. Definitely heard that one too. Or you could really substitute any kind of strategy where a kid is like, I never do this because whenever I do that, I get checkmated. Or the opposite where it's like, oh, I always, put my knights on the side because I always win those games. And it's like, but it's, you gotta like consider it from, consider what the strategy is. Like, yeah, it's common with this group. So usually by the future masters, they've kind of figured that out for themselves. Some of these odd ideas, they've gone away. But in this group, they're alive and well. Yeah, I'm looking at board number 2. Oh, we got some more pins. But it looks pretty even at the same time. Like, yeah, board 2, it's a little bit of a mess for both players. Like, I feel like the pieces aren't really working well together. I mean, I guess there is sort of this battle brewing over the e4 pawn, black's e4 pawn. But I feel like both players, the pieces could be in better spots. Well, it's okay. Let's see. We'll go back to that in a second. So, okay. So it looks like white's up a few pawns. Actually, how did that queen get to a3? It's almost impossible in this position. Huh, okay. Yeah, the queen, well, yeah, queen probably does not want to be on a3. So it looks like the queen is now presumably about to go to b4 and be in a better spot. It can always swing over to the king side if it needs to. Yeah, notice how fast black played that move, and it's a mistake. And you can see on board 4, white's taking their time more than black. Yeah, so we can see that white noticed the rook is not safe on a4. They can just take it, and that's no good. Yeah. So going up here, I'm guessing it's black's move. Yeah, it looks like black's taking their time trying to figure out how to protect their e4 pawn. So let's sit on board 2 for a moment, and then we can go back to future masters. We'll do a quick check-in on future masters, and then we can check out primary, our final section. And we can share what we think their main area of weakness is. Oh, and Alana, I was gonna say, kind of the funny thing is, then I feel like these same areas, they then sort of get recycled as you move up to the next level. So for example, the future masters, the idea of like you're trying to break their bad habits. I feel like then once players reach, let's say 2000, they have that same weakness where they have these bad habits that also need to be broken on a higher level, of course, because they're better players.
Mhm.
But it's the same like weakness. All right. Let's see. What is black going to do?
All right, looks like primary is going to be paired momentarily.
Nice. I think black does have a lot of possibilities here on board 2. Curious what they're going to choose to do.
All right, so I'm starting round 1 for primary.
Nice.
Yeah, we actually have some players that are doing rated for the first time.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Yes, I know on board, on some of the boards, they were really looking to get rated, and I guess this is the perfect opportunity to do that.
Yeah, so it looks like on board 2, black chose to retreat the queen. Not so sure about this. I thought black had another option here. Let's see what white does.
Now let's go back to Future Masters. I'm curious.
All right. So I would say for black on board 2, maybe go back and look at this moment. I think you'll find something a little stronger. Not game changing, but just a little bit better. All right. Let's see what's going on. Ooh. Okay. Well, all right. Looks like black's in the driver's seat on board 1. Board 2. Yeah, this was very hard fought game. Oh, looks like black has pulled ahead again. Yeah, they were able to get this really active rook, and you see white's rook is still on h1. That's not going to be good. Oh, okay. Yeah, you can't get more drawn than that. So that's a good game, both players. Okay, and then board 5. So like I always do, count the material. Looks like white's up a pawn. But still very, very close game. Because besides, well, black's d pawn could also become weak because it's isolated. There's no pawns to either side to protect it. So yeah, white should be better on board 5, but still close for sure. White also has a big time advantage. Oh, all right. So yeah, we'll definitely check back on board 5. All right, primary. Okay. Yeah, primary is fun because you can't always guess the opening. They get creative. Oh boy. Like board 1. Looks like all 4 pawns were in the center at one point. You got guys on e4, d4, e5, and d5. Oh boy. Okay, looks like white might be overmatching against their opponent here. Looks like, person playing black, you just want to make sure you're moving your pieces to a safe square where they can't be taken. And looks like white's taking advantage of those. Though, well, we'll go back to board one in a moment. The old discovered attack trap. Yeah, so on board two, black had a nice tactic. So when you have a queen on e7 or e2, knight on e4, and the king is still on e1, there's a chance to do a discovered attack with knight c3. White can't take this knight because the queen's putting the king in check. So after white gets out of check, black can just take their queen. So that trap we've seen, a bazillion times. Now white will never forget it.
But yeah, that's what I found, that especially in primary, somebody does, a tactic like this to you, and you end up learning it for yourself.
Yeah.
And you'll use it in a different chess game. So one of the best parts about playing chess is that you learn from your moves.
Yeah, of course. So, I don't think white will forget this, but if they do, that's why you want to go back over your games and see, what do these people do against me to beat me? Can I do it on someone else? Looks like black's up a queen here, so they should be okay. So, there's only 3 games?
Yeah, two players are entering with a half point bye for round one.
Oh, why is that?
They just are.
Oh, okay. All right, then. Oh, looks like, okay, white got a checkmate here. So black has a lot to learn from this game on board one. Start with the checkmate. When you have a pawn on f6, then if you can get a queen to g7, that's a checkmate.
Yeah, it's a nice anchor for the queen.
Yeah, so my theory for this group, the main area of weakness, is, now that they've started playing rated, they know the fundamentals, like control the center, things like that. But usually there's like one huge area of weakness that they need to tighten up. It can be like a tactical thing. It can be moving your pieces to save squares. There's just one gaping hole. But it's usually pretty easy to fix. And once you fix that hole, then they quickly move up to reserve, where we have to fix their odd ideas. So I didn't really see what happened on board 3. I'm not sure how black got up that queen. But I would say, for board 1, just the player playing black, before you move, make sure your pieces are safe. Nothing can take them. And that comes with practice. And it's a very easy problem to fix. And then on board 2, oh yeah, that little tactical trap.
All right, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to send the link where everyone can actually watch the games live, not just, the games that we're showing, so they can actually watch the games at their own pace.
Okay. So I'm going to leave here. It looks like these games are going to be pretty decisive. Let's go back to that. Yes. Yeah, board 5. This is a close one. Yeah, black's done pretty well getting counterplay. So on board 5, the situation is white's up a pawn. And actually white is starting to get their pieces a little more active as well. But at the same time, it's only one pawn. And if black can try to get some activity, then they might have some compensation for the pawn. looks like white's in control for now. Yeah. So we'll sit on this scan, this one. May take a while. That's right. Board 1 and 3 had finished. Ooh.
Oh, wow, looks like
Oh,
primary is all complete.
oh yeah, that's what we were guessing. Yeah, looks like well, the board 4 is really funny because that queen was like all over the place. Right? When we first checked in, she was on A3. Now look at her. So white made, I guess, some kind of adjustment to get the queen over to the king side and crashed through. So board 2 is only game still going. Oh, right. This had the big pin on E4. So white's up a few pawns here, right? 3 pawns. Yeah, so, well, white was up 3 pawns. But yeah, this should be decisive for white. So primary's done. So really, oops, the closest game we have right now is on board 5. All right, good. I'm glad to see black played F6, giving their king some escape room. I was afraid they were gonna get back ranked checkmated. So now black could actually be okay. They've traded off their isolated pawn. And, you know, white has the extra pawn on the king side, but the pawns are doubled and the H pawn is all on its own. Well, this is going to be a close one. So I guess black is deciding whether or not to take the. Oh, never mind. I thought maybe they're thinking about taking the D pawn. Let's see if they do that. And if they decide not to take the D pawn, then things are not going well. This D pawn is a pass pawn. It can pretty easily be protected. It's unfortunate if black can somehow get rid of that D pawn, then it will be pretty close. All right, so black played G6. So it looks like, you know, I'm sure they saw if they had taken on D5, then bishop C4 pins the rook to the king. That is no good. But I'm not sure what G6 does. Maybe king F8 would have been stronger. Yeah, so we see now now white gets the rook behind the pass pawn. That's where rooks belong, behind the pass pawn, so that the rook still has a lot of room to move and it can support its pawn. So a mistake would have been to instead go rook C8, king G7 or F7, and then rook D8, putting the rook in front of the pawn, because the rook is, first of all, in the way of the pawn. And second of all, as that pawn marches up the board, that rook's mobility is going to get constricted further and further. White needs to be a little careful not to lose that guy.
Let's move on to a different game.
Did another section start?
No, it's just reserve is ending soon.
Okay, I mean, those games. Okay, I guess we can look. I was thinking those games were pretty close to being concluded. Yeah, like it looks like white is about to win here. They're up a rook and they have a pass pawn. And I believe the other games were over. and then primary's over, right?
Yeah, so primary is starting in 3 minutes.
All right, so let's go back to this game. See if black can find a defense. Looks like whites might be being a little more cautious about pushing the pawn now, but they want to make sure they can adequately guard it. Yeah, rook d2. Good move, good move. So rook d2 keeps the rook on the d file, also protects their bishop on e2. The time could also be a factor. I know we were like, we wanted to make sure everyone's taking their time. But I feel like once you reach the 10-minute mark and you're way behind on time compared to your opponent, you can get into trouble.
I guess everyone's fortunate, though, that there is an increment in this tournament.
Yeah, increment's huge. So you can build up time.
Yeah, so normally in Scholastic tournaments, we do a delay where your clock doesn't start for 5 seconds. In an increment, your clock starts, but you get 5 seconds returned to your clock after you make your move.
Yeah.
So that's why we were seeing situations where somebody actually finished the game with more time than they were allotted during the game. Because of that 5 seconds that they were getting added.
That shouldn't happen. Even if you won the game, I mean, you'll still have won even if you take 10 minutes to think. So one consideration with time as well is you want to compare your time to your opponent's. So here, I mean, 11 minutes it's definitely not time to blitz your moves. Just what makes me nervous is when white has so much more time than me, then they can take more time in these critical moments. So unless your opponent is going super fast, you want to at least be aware of the difference between your time and their time, and don't fall too far behind.
All right, looks like reserve just finished their round.
Yeah, it looks like white played a strong move here. So f4, attacks the rook, opens a discovery from the bishop to the bishop on h5. So white is probably going to trade. Well, let's see what they do. Normally when you're up material, you want to trade. Here, though, they might not. They might want to keep the bishop. What did you say, Alana? The reserve is up?
Reserve just finished.
Oh, okay. All right. So white is a big decision. Should they trade this bishop, or should they keep it? Yeah, they kept it, and I think that's right. Because black's bishop is really out of play. It's going to take at least a couple tempo to get back in the game. Oh, this is a great battle. And so far, I'm impressed with both players. And I think white is really playing this correctly.
All right, so we just started round 2 for primary.
Got you. We'll go there in a second. Let's see what black can come up with here. So it's getting to the point where like it's really decisive. Like we're gonna know, I think, in a few moves who's gonna win this game. It's like either black can, either white's going to queen that pawn or black can find a way to get counterplay. Black has a lot of moves they can consider here. This is where coming up with candidate moves is really important. You know, should I get my bishop back into play? Should I move my rook? Maybe push a pawn. All right. Check back. All right, we'll check back in with them in a second. So at least look at the openings. Oh, they haven't started yet. Have they started? Oh, no. Okay, cool. All right. So here on board one, we have a really classical setup. You know, e4, e5, pieces to the center. Very good. All right, looks like board two, kind of the same thing, right? So good, really glad to see these fundamentals. So it looks like, you know, both sides have a really solid position on board two. Board one, you know, it's funny, we saw black in the first round. This player was taking advantage of their opponent's pieces that were in danger. And now in this game, we kind of see the tables turned, where now it looks like they fell victim to a fork on c7. So knight c7, the knight's attacking the queen and the rook. It looks like they didn't notice the queen was under attack, and white's now up a queen. Yeah, board two, very solid game. Oh, board three, okay. All right. Looks like white just played queen g4, very aggressive move. Very good. Black stopped a potential checkmate.
Yeah, that's what I tell all my students. You know, good chess players, you know, they always make threats.
Oh, let's see, white had a checkmate. Instead, they took the queen.
You know, I can't fault them for taking the queen.
I can.
I mean, it's a queen, but you know, in chess, you know, if you see a good move, you want to stop and try to find a better move.
Take your time.
Yeah, I think maybe they got so excited they got the queen.
Yeah, no, I understand. I mean, white should win this, but I would take the sure win. All right, it's okay. Oh, it's only 3 games. All right. Yeah, so boards 1 and board 3, looks like there's a queen differential. So white should be winning in those games. And then we have board 2, just kind of like a slow build-up.
And reserve just started their round 2.
Let me check back into that. All right, so back to Future Masters on board 5. You have a blockade situation. Okay. Well, all right. I mean,
Yeah, I'll hand it to them in this position. They're definitely fighting tooth and nail in this game.
Yeah, this is great. You know, this is, you know, what we want to see. But see, now you can tell, I mean, now the 7 minutes versus the 24 minutes, that's going to hurt. King G2. Oh, I thought earlier black could have gone bishop f3, and I think white's in huge trouble. Yeah, I didn't want to say anything until something had happened, but if bishop f3, that king is stuck. And then rook c1 is going to be checkmate. After bishop f3, white would have had to go, or would have had to find bishop h3, rook c1, bishop f1. But then black's in such a better spot. The bishop is pinned, the king is trapped. Oof, that would have been really difficult. But now king g2 stops it, and I think white should come ahead here. So we'll revisit the game. Okay. Trying to figure out. What opening was board one? Well, oh, black is inviting trouble. Yeah, knight d5. Oh boy. So now you have a pin on f6. Yeah, h6. That's a no-no. It's too slow. Got to get out some of your pieces. And definitely you have to anticipate knight to d5. Yeah, I'm curious how that opening developed. Looks like something went wrong for black. And I mean, actually, I think black's okay. They're going to have a worse game, but maybe not losing. All right. Keep an eye on this one. 4-2. All right, looks like another English game. Oh, I don't know about e4. Because what that does is now your bishop on g2 is blocked. You've also conceded control of d4. You can never go, let's say, pawn to e3 and help control d4. The d3 pawn is a backward pawn. It's weak. So yeah, I would take a look at e4. You know, sometimes I feel like you get so excited to make a threat that you don't really consider what comes after it if your opponent, you know, stops your threat.
So I am noticing that everyone's taking more time this round.
Oh, good. Ooh, and board 3. Yeah, white had a nice tactic here. Very good. Sack the bishop on f7, and then hit him with queen d5. Forks king and knight. Yeah, it's a tactic you just got to watch out for. That's a good one by white.
Yeah, I used to do that all the time when I was a kid.
Yeah. And board 1. Oh, boy. Yeah, white is putting the pressure on that queen. Not sure where she is going to go. We'll see. Okay, and then down here. Yeah, this game might be the most. Or what happened on board 2? Oh, right. Oh, wait. Oh, no. White lost their queen? Looks like white lost their queen on board 2. Maybe they overlooked the pin on the h5 d1 diagonal. Oh, no. Though, you know, it's actually not the worst, because white does have 2 bishops for the queen. So it's not over. All right. Well, then I will say board 4 may be our closest game. Doesn't look like anyone has the clear advantage yet. Yeah, so materials equal. No, it's a good game. Oh, we have that same pin on the diagonal here. So if this knight on e4 moves, then bishop takes f5 will win a piece. So black has to just be aware of that. But on the other hand, nothing can really attack that knight. So if black just keeps it there, should be okay. It's a good game. Yeah, I see white is taking their time. So good. Glad to see it. Sorry. Glad to see it.
So it looks like we have a win on board 3 in primary.
Oh, primary started?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. We were looking at that. Yeah. All right. So it looks like, yeah. White won. They Oh, that's right. Yeah. White was up the queen, so yeah. Looks like white's still in control on board 1. So board 2 looks like white's up a piece here. But in primary, that's it's never a guaranteed a guaranteed win or anything. So white's better here, of course, because they're up the piece. But it's still close. Pawn situation looks like they're even. Yeah, it looks like this group's really taking their time. Like the times are close together. We have 21 minutes, 19 minutes. Same on board 2. Board 3, they both took 22 minutes. So no one is really blitzing it out like we saw in Future Masters.
Yeah, definitely important to take your time.
Yeah, Black's hanging pretty tough on board 1. I guess, well, they have lost a lot of material. But it's good that, we're not seeing anyone resign either. Always play it out. Force the person to actually prove they know how to beat you. All right, let's check back in. Okay. Yeah, it looks like white did pull ahead on board 5. That was a good game. Very close game.
And for those of you who are watching the stream, we emailed you the links to the other sections if you wanted to take a look at those.
I thought white could get more of an advantage on board 1. But yeah, it looks like they at least got something out of it. They're up a pawn. Black's position is all kind of in disarray. At least there's still a chance for black to come back here. Then yeah, board 3. Yeah, white had that nice tactic, and now black's in a lot of trouble. All right, and then board 2, white lost their queen, but they had the 2 bishops for it. Looks like not much progress there. We'll see if the 2 bishops can defend. And then this game was like really even. Okay, looks like maybe black caught white in a fork here, forked the rooks. And now black's ahead.
All right, looks like there's one game remaining in the Future Masters.
Is that board 5 game?
No, it's the board 1 game.
Oh, did I just completely overlook that? Oh, yeah. All right, so black's taking their time here. Looks like, white really fought hard. Not sure how much longer they can keep fighting. This game's over, right? Yeah, looks like black's being really careful. They're trying to fall into any skewers on the 5th rank. Okay. So I know there was, one game in primary. Yeah, I don't know. If black can get a little bit active, they might be okay. I mean, they're still down the piece. Good. Looks like, both players are taking their time.
All right, so looks like Future Masters just completed the first round.
Very good. Good job. I mean, this is good that they took so long to do the first round. Shows they're taking their time. And I just noticed on board 2 in primary, looks like white didn't realize their bishop was under attack, and so black got back the piece. So now it's a very close game. It's completely even. Yeah, so all right, we'll go back, see what's going on in reserve, see if whites can use their bishops. Yeah, this board 2 game's looking pretty interesting. 2 bishops against the queen. White is making use of all their pieces. Nobody's getting left out. Then, oh, this game was also very close. Oh, this is a good one. So what I'm noticing here is like they both have passed pawns. Black's is a little further along than white. Actually, no, it's not true. They're equally further along. But what could be decisive here is the black king is slightly weak. Yeah. So that could be a problem. And that might be even more important than the pawns. It's very good. Very good. Okay, what's going on with? Yeah, I noticed. Looks like white dropped a knight here. So now black. Now it's just a queen against the bishop, and yeah, that's gonna be a lot harder for white. All right, so we got this game. Yeah, I think white's much more comfortable here. Yeah, d6. Mm. Oh, it's one of these hair-raising games. It's like both players are like after the same goal, like getting their pawn to the end. It's like who's gonna do it first?
Those are the best kind of games.
I don't know if that king, like let's say, was on h7. There's a pawn on g7. Then black would be much happier. But well, black's okay. Okay, rook b3, very logical. Get the rook out of the way with tempo, and then maybe push that pawn.
Yeah, looks like board 2, there's like an Arabian night pattern. in primary.
Oh. All right. Yeah, that game might be over quickly then. Oh no! Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I've noticed that, kids, they like knowing the names of special kinds of checkmates.
Yeah, this one is one of the oldest checkmates ever. Right? This one's been around for thousands of years. Because when chess was first around, the queen was super weak, so the rook was the best piece, and all the checkmates were given to the rook. Oh no! I mean, black was, I guess, trying to move their king to the corner to be safe, but they ended up getting trapped. Oh, tough, man, because black had really fought back and looked like going to be a close end game, but he got caught in a mating net. Oh, tough game. And then, oh no. So what I'm guessing happened is white played queen d5 check, black played queen e6, and then white pushed the pawn. But then they didn't notice after queen takes d5, if they promoted, the queen could just take on d8. Oh, that's tough. Oh. I think if white had played rook c1 earlier and gotten the rook involved earlier, they would have had a mating attack against the king. Yeah, oh. All right, so good, good games though. Yeah, I can tell everybody's really fighting hard.
And they say, you learn the most from your own games.
And looks like black should be winning here. So that was that.
All right, so round 2 for Future Masters is about to start. So I just started the round, so everyone should have been prepared.
All right. So D4, E4.
Oh no, looks like we have a sibling pairing on board 1 in Future Masters.
On board 1?
Yeah, in Future Masters.
So
they're actually both in a class that I teach on Wednesdays, and they have a nice rivalry with one another. So they're very used to playing each other.
Oh yeah. I always wonder, like, are they in the same room together? Like, how are they doing it? Well, they know each other's systems. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then board 3. All right, cool. White got castled queenside quickly, and then, right away went bishop h6. So yeah, this is a common thing to do when your opponent has a bishop on g7, is try to trade off that bishop, because once that bishop's traded, there's going to be some weaknesses around the king. That bishop won't be there anymore to guard those squares, especially h6 square and f6 square.
All right, so it looks like board 2 made a move. So all the games are underway in Future Masters. All right, looks like primary has concluded. All right.
Yeah, and even if you lost the first round, remember there's unless you're Future Masters, there's 4 games, so there's plenty of time to get back in it. And even if you're not someone finishing, in the top spots, that's okay. That means you're actually in the right section, because you're going to be, challenging yourself and learning from playing against good players. Yeah, you know, I was keeping an eye on board 4. So white got an early pawn, but it allowed black all this counterplay. You know, white fell behind in development. They only have a bishop out. Black has 2 knights and a bishop out. I think white's going to end up in some trouble. Oh, black played knight d7. I think c6 would have been a lot stronger because you're attacking the queen and you'd be threatening the knight c2 fork. But nonetheless, black has a nice initiative. And if you're playing white, please slow down. You know, white's a very talented player. And I think he plays pretty slowly. Rushing is not usually a problem for him. So, you know, even though you're playing online, slow down. He's missing a lot of things. And then on board 5, we had a Sicilian. Okay.
It's going to be a closed Sicilian.
Oh, yeah. Board 3. Oh, okay. White wasted no time at all. So looks like they pushed h4, h5. So after trading off black's defensive bishop on g7, now they're trying to use the rook and the queen together to attack the king. In the meantime, I mean, black's all right though. I mean, the thing is, white has nobody else, no knights or bishops ready to go. And if black can use the open C file, they're gonna also be generating threats against the white king. Okay.
So it looks like primary round 3 is set to start in less than a minute.
Sounds good. So we'll go back here once these games get further underway. Then all of these games were, yeah, it looks like white's going to win here. And yeah, well, I know primary goes kind of quick, so want to catch them. All right, we'll go back to Future Masters then. There was, yeah, so we can kind of see what happened here is, I mean, it looks like white has some big threats with like queen h6. But then it's like, what's the follow-up going to be? So knight f3 was good. Maybe the knight can jump to g5 or h4. But black also now has almost finished development. Bishop on f5 is targeting c2. Yeah, knight b4. Rook a c8 is coming. So this is going to be really fun. So we're going to get to see 2 attacks. You know, the one big thing for white is this bishop on f1. It's making a problem. It's stopping the rooks from connecting, and the bishop can't even move out. So that's going to take some time. Yeah, it's important to attack with all your pieces.
Yeah, so my chess coach always told me you need at least 3 pieces to have a good attack.
Yeah, I would say black now has the edge. Oh. Well, this is very interesting. Okay, white went queen h6. You know, I was almost thinking white was going to get 2 rooks for the queen after queen takes d8. Rook takes rook. That would have been pretty interesting.
I'm thinking that maybe they wanted to keep those pieces on the board because, normally when you're attacking, you don't want to trade off pieces because it'll make the defense even stronger. So maybe
Yeah,
that's what
that
they were
makes
thinking
sense.
about.
Yeah, I guess I could also argue though that white's not really attacking here because they don't have enough pieces to really attack. I'm not sure though. It's hard to say. Yeah. So, after rook takes rook, then black has the open d file. Yeah, we really see, it's white would almost prefer this bishop not even be on the board because it's just like blocking the rook from moving. Hmm. Yeah, I think black has something. Hmm. See what black does next. Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, board 3 is a good example of, I think what white did at the beginning was very interesting and worked out well. But they neglected developing that bishop. That really could have gotten them in trouble. I feel like we see that a lot where sometimes you attack before you finish your development. And then, in fact, it's your own king that comes under attack. Oh, looks like on board 2, white had to make the unfortunate king e2. And they're trying to unravel that situation.
What I like about these players is they don't give up.
Mm-mm. Not at all. Oh, and then on board 1, another unfortunate piece, rook b7. Oh, it was probably recapturing something.
Yeah, if I had to assume, it was probably a light squared bishop trade.
Yeah, well, that rook needs to get back to b8 as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's kind of just like a paperweight there on b7.
Yes, a brick. Okay. Oh. Look at this. Oops. 39. No. Yeah, white, you got to take your time.
All right, looks like a reserve just finished.
It's a good game on board 5. Okay. Nice c3. Good job. So black found a strong move. And I think this should do it.
All right, so round 3 for reserve will be starting in 5 minutes. I'm going to send out the text message right now.
Oh, I don't understand. King a2. Let's see what black does. I would have thought king b2 is stronger. Yeah, now queen takes c3 and white. Okay. Oh, they set a little trap. I think. All right, this game got crazy. Yeah, okay. And instead of rook d1, I think black should have just taken the knight on a3. And then after rook d1, I think white set a little trap. They went to a2, and then black fell into it with queen takes c3. Then bishop c4 check uncovers an attack from the rook to the rook. So black had to go knight d5, but then once that defensive knight moves away, oh boy, then you have to deal with this attack. Ooh.
You know, I'm always so impressed by by scholastic chess.
But I think it's maybe white shouldn't have gone queen takes h7. They should have kept the pin on the knight, so then that knight is frozen. Unless they have a mate. Well, I don't want to say too much. Maybe they've calculated they have checkmate or something.
Well, definitely a game full of fireworks.
Oh, that could work too. Okay, so they can't go there. Yeah. Okay. That should work too. Mm-hmm. Wow, good game on board 3. Yeah, I mean, black had to do that, otherwise they're going to get mated. King g5, f4 check. King g4, just queen g8 or something. Yep. But unfortunately, this doesn't save black either. It's a tough one. So what white did is they just removed the guard, the knight on d5, and then the queen is free. They could also have just taken the queen as well. The knight's pinned, it can't have taken back. So this was another good game where, I'm not sure what black was thinking, but just looking at the different candidate moves, like rook d1 looks strong, queen takes a3 looks strong, and you have to analyze each one. And I think just queen takes a3 earlier would have been a lot stronger. And then, yeah, king a2. That was a mean trick. So good job for white. It fooled me too.
All right, so reserve round 3 is about to begin.
Oh, board 2. White's up in black's up in pieces, but white has quicker development. Ooh. Okay. Oh, good. That rook went back to b8. I was worried about it. And this looks pretty even. Yeah, this game was pretty close too. So we may have to just come back to Future Masters so we can really see what happens. Yeah, I want to keep an eye on on board 2 though. So, actually, let's go to primary. Okay. Okay, so I remember this player on board 3. The player playing white struggled in round 1. Looks like they put together a really good setup here. I mean, they are down a few pieces, but that could have been to open up black's king. And now white has some really strong threats on board 3. So that's good to see. see if black can stop the threats. Yeah, so black did have to defend this knight, otherwise, well, okay, white did it anyway, but it's not as good here because rook takes, and you've lost that rook that could really have helped you attack. Now I don't, okay.
Yeah, look at board one. That's a very interesting game.
Yeah, board one's really funny. But I was seeing a player on board three, it looks like you put together some good moves early on. So, that's a good start. Try to build on those. Okay. Yeah, board one.
Man, yeah, normally you don't see the kings that close to each other.
Can white find a way to trap him? Or will that pawn make its way to g3 and fork the rooks?
Well, the king can't move, so.
True. Oh, he moved him. Yeah, that's really funny. Is he gonna go back?
Maybe he can go for the. I mean, maybe they're going for the draw.
Don't do that. There he goes.
All right, went for the win.
Very good. All right, that's what you should be doing. No, this. Oof. Yeah, this game makes me nervous. Then looks like white won here. Yeah, these guys in primary, a lot of it's just protecting your pieces. Don't give away stuff for free. It's a really common problem, but I think it's really easy to fix. I think you just need more practice. The more games you play, the more you'll just get used to seeing, these threats to your pieces, and you won't make those mistakes. So I know it's a really frustrating issue because, even if you play a great game, if you lose your queen, then it doesn't matter. But I never get too worried when I see it because I know it's an easy problem to fix.
I know from the parent side of things, it can be extremely frustrating because, you're just watching your child just hang their pieces. But, it's something that, I'm happy to say, as somebody who frequently blundered their pieces when I played in Scholastic Chess, it's something that they will overcome.
Oh, yeah. And you can't really fix it. Like, there's no, strategy I can really say to fix it, except maybe move slower. But I really just think it comes with practice. Think about the first time you ever learned something. It just takes you a while to get the hang of it, that, learning curve. But then you're okay. You'll move on to bigger problems that are unfortunately a lot harder to fix.
So you're saying hanging pieces is the least of their worries.
Yeah, sorry to say. Like my end game, for example, I'm working on fixing that, and I wish it was as easy to fix. So it looks like white hung their rook. So now black should win. Yeah, that active king, it actually was hard to stop. I thought earlier on in that position where the king was on g3 and there were rooks on f2 and h2, I think white could have gone king f1, king e2 to take away the f3 square. And then you're making a mating net with rook f to g2, and that would have been mate. I thought that was a cool mating net that white could have tried to do.
Yeah, but
it's okay.
But I definitely respect, white for going for the win in that position. As we saw, there was a perpetual that they could have done, threefold repetition. But we always teach our students, go for the win, even if you lose. You learn something new. and you build that fighting spirit in chess.
Yeah, having that confidence is everything. Okay. Yeah. So we'll go back here. But it looks like those games should be pretty decisive. What was
It's like reserve already has a game done.
Oh. What do we have here? Oh, we have two teammates. And their kings are both under attack by the queen. Ooh, this is another one.
It's almost like a symmetrical attack.
Yeah, it's gonna be like both sides have the same goal. Okay. Offering peace. No. Okay, no. So this is hope chess. You're hoping they take with the knight, and then you get the queen for free. But I mean, king takes, that should be the first move on your mind. Then you see it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's really important that, if you see a good move, you want to look at all possibilities that your opponent can do. So I understand why that move was played, but you want to make sure you look at all possibilities. I know that I got really excited if I saw a really cool tactic.
Yeah.
But you want to try to find the best move for your opponent.
Yeah.
Because, they're trying to beat you too. But,
this is easy to get excited. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I've been super excited about, potentially winning a queen, only to realize, oh man. But, that's why you learn, a lot from your games.
Yeah. So that's tough. So black should be up here.
But again, white does have a couple extra pawns.
True. Okay. And it looks like, yeah, black is comfortably up in both of these games. So, yeah, that's true. I mean, if black gets careless and lets white, trade off or even just win a lot of these pawns, then it won't be that easy. But black should be okay. Should be able to win.
Wait. Did that knight just disappear? Am I seeing things?
Wait, it just did disappear.
What?
Oh, did he sack? They must be moving so fast. Did he sack his knight on b5? He must have sacked the knight on b5.
I was like, one minute I saw it there, the other minute it was gone.
Because they're like blitzing.
Yeah, guys, slow down, slow.
I mean, I think that sacrifice worked. Because now you have the pawn can't be stopped. But it happened so fast, I wasn't exactly sure. Like, maybe instead, white should have tried to get their king over to the king side. I mean, now it's going to be really slow.
So definitely a very interesting game. End games are so important in chess.
Wait, what? How'd that king get in front of the pawn?
All right, guys, slow down.
This is going so fast. Oh, this is a blunder by black. Black never should have let this happen. Oh, dear. Oh. Okay, wait a second. All right, these guys are moving way too fast. No, I'm seeing both sides making big mistakes. Okay, so white's now losing because this little sector over on the queen side, they both want it to be the other person's turn. Because then if it was white's turn, like it was, white had to move their king out and black gets a queen. But if it was black's turn, they have to go king b3 stalemate or move the king away and then king takes b2. So white,
Yes.
white had a chance just to push the pawn, I think, to g5, and it's black's turn. That's a draw. And then I
Yes.
think there was another opportunity where black then could have passed the turn to white, but then they missed it. And then white had a chance to still pass the turn back. No. All right, we gotta do some endgame work. No, this is a really good example though of like understanding that you need to pass the turn to your opponent. Like you don't want to have to move. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely turn this into a lesson. Really instructive end game. Yeah, so both these guys, please look at that end game. And I think there were chances to draw.
So what I found with, especially with kids, is that they rush through the end game. And, especially, when we were running in-person tournaments, I would, often see like at the future, even in the future master section, as soon as they got into an end game, they would start moving their pieces as fast as possible. And I have to stop and say, no, you have to slow down. The end game is where there's so much calculation.
Yeah, like every move becomes even more important.
Exactly. I mean, there's so much calculation. So well, I remember when I was, first learning how to play chess, my dad told me that Irina Krush, who's a grandmaster, when she learned how to play chess, the first thing she learned was the end game. So after piece movement, her father started teaching her the end game. So I always found that to be very interesting.
Yeah.
Because
Well, I mean, that's a great. Oh, go ahead.
It teaches you how to think in chess, because there's so many different possibilities that can come up. And I feel like with fewer pieces on the board, it's simple enough, for kids to grasp the concepts themselves. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. And I think also what you were saying, how when it comes to the end game, kids tend to speed up. So that's definitely something I'm going to start, emphasizing, when I teach that when you reach the end game, don't speed up, slow down. The work
Exactly.
may just be beginning. Don't throw away all your work before.
Exactly, because a lot of the time you work so hard to get a small edge in an end game. And, a lot of the times, you don't want to just, throw that away. And you work so hard in the opening and the middle game, just so that you have an advantage in the last stage of the game. So I feel like, the end game is the most neglected part of chess.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Yeah. Well, that's very instructive game for both players. So on boards 2 and 3, looks like black's up a queen on board 2, black's up a rook on board 3. So those games should be, black should be winning. That was, where were we? Oh, right. Future Masters had, we had checked in with them and they were just starting. Okay. So board 3 looks like white pulled ahead pretty quickly. All right, we'll just go in order. Board 1. Yeah, white was able to get a pass pawn on c6, protected pass pawn. Just doing a quick count. So it's even, but white has the advantage. Board 2. Quick head count. Looks like black's up a couple pawns. But white's dark square bishop is could be annoying because black doesn't have a dark square bishop to counter it. So here's another case where there's two bishops against a bishop and a knight. That's an advantage for white called the two bishops. So maybe white has a little bit of compensation, but I think if black can develop, then having two extra pawns should be enough for an advantage. Yeah. Then board 5. Yeah, another even game. Just making sure black's not losing a pawn here. Yeah, I think black should be a little better, right? Because their D pawn is taking space. Their knight can jump, has a few good squares to jump to. Their rooks are really active. Even the bishop's active because it's still like pressuring E5. I think black's a little better here. But yeah, these guys are taking their time. Who else? Okay. Yeah, it looks like everyone's taking their time. You know, I'm just bored 2. You know, black doesn't want to get too far back on time. It's the only thing I would be a little concerned about. Very good. Very good. No, another round of really good games.
So it looks like round 4.
For primary?
Yes.
These guys, they keep it rolling. I don't want to miss the action. All right, let's take a look at the rankings. All right, someone's 3-0. Very good. All right. Yeah, you know, and if you are one of the people that's closer to the bottom, you know, that's okay. Don't give up. Just keep practicing. You want to play good players. All right, these are the games from last time. Okay. Is primary going to start soon, or when's the start time for them?
12:50.
Oh, okay. All right then. And reserve was finishing up, so we can just keep an eye on boards on the future masters. Just do a quick check. Yeah, black should be in control on board 5. So white's in control on board 1. So board 2 is, I would say, the closest. White needs to take advantage of their lead in development and more active pieces for the moment. Otherwise, black's just going to be ahead to 2 pawns. It looks like white's doing a good job. So, question is, how will black defend the B pawn? Yeah, I mean, they have to push it. If rook B8, bishop D6, the rook has to move again. So B5, only move. And you know, white can has a decision. Should they trade their bishop for the knight? I mean, on the one hand, you know, white likes having the 2 bishops. But that knight is like really strong where it is. It can't be chased away by pawns on D5. The knight's controlling a lot of key squares around, well, on the king side and the queen side and the center. I don't know though. It's really hard to know what to do.
Looks like reserve is down to 1 game, and future masters have 2 games completed.
Yeah, and we'll check out the standings too after this. Well, you know, while we're sitting, So I know there was someone who was 3-0 in primary, so they're in the lead. For reserve, well, I'm just going to make a prediction and say, well, maybe not. Thought Black was comfortably winning on board 3, but all of a sudden, this White has a little something going on, maybe. Ooh, that king, we'll see. The king escaped. Well, I'm going to still predict Black's going to win, so R will win. Let's check out the rankings. All right. Pretty close. So Ryder and
All right, so round 4 for primary has started.
Oh, so Eric then is 3-0 in reserve. All right, primary started. Don't want to miss it. All right. We got E4, E5 situations. Ooh, we have a Danish Gambit brewing on board 3. And we have a starting position on board 4. Looks like White's doing the full Danish on board 3. Yeah, I taught him that. Oh, Queen H4. Okay. Okay. All right, so board 1, really typical starting position, the Italian game. Board 2, ooh, there could be some trouble on the E file. All right, we've seen this before. Queen on E7, the knight's out. King on E1. All right, we'll see what happens. Yeah, and board 3, Queen H4, okay. I mean, you always want to be careful about moving your queen out early because she can be easily attacked. So, all right, looks like White went knight F3, hits the queen. Oh. Looks like maybe White went knight takes C7, try to like get a fork. But it didn't work because it wasn't protected and the queen could just take the knight. All right, so black, okay. Looks like it's back to even. All right, we'll see what happens. Okay, so, wow. So White is down like a million pawns, but they have some more pieces active. You know, they'll try to prove that it was worth it to give up those pawns. Oh, and then G5. That's certainly a creative way to get rid of these pawns.
Yeah,
See
normally
if it works out.
Yeah, I guess he really wants those pawns to move. But yeah, I would definitely recommend, keep your king safe first and then start attacking. Because, king safety is the most important thing. Without a king, you can't play chess.
Yeah, no, Black's giving it all on the line. Oh, looks like they may have lost the knight there. All right, and board 3, White made, all right, good decision. Move the knight out. And board 1 remains, really solid, really equal. So I think Black really needs to win on board 1. And then I think they would catch White, since White is 3-0. They'd catch up to White, and there might be like a big tie for first or something. Yeah, so on both board 2 and board 3, you know that the black queens are in no man's land. They might start getting kicked around. And you know the thing with that is then they have to spend time moving away, and they can't bring out the rest of their pieces. So it's not even about like trapping the queen necessarily, but just like forcing her to waste time. Yeah, so far both players doing a good job using their extra activity, trying to make threats. Oh,
All right, looks
yeah,
like reserve is done. Okay, great.
and it looks like on board 4, this was really back and forth, and it looks like black is pulling ahead. See if they can track the king here. Let's take a quick look at the rankings. Okay. Got you. So we have, all right. So if black can win on board 1, and if black can win on board 2, they'll have a big tie for first. All right, very good. On board 3, white just played knight e5, making a threat to the queen. Good. And good, both players also castled. Very happy to see that. And it looks like black is working to use their queen and rook in conjunction. Yeah, queen and rook are a great fighting force for checkmates. If you can get the queen in front of the king, protected by a rook, that's a very common checkmate we see a lot. Yeah, and kind of, you kind of see what happens where on boards 2 and 3, white's really pulled ahead. Board 3, white, in fact, even just won the queen. And on board 2, black is really not happy about their position. It shows the danger of, moving your queen out too early in the game. Okay, and then it's just funny to watch these games compared to board 1, where it's still like, I don't think a single piece has been even traded yet. So it's a very slow developing game.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah, none of the pieces have been captured, so.
Yeah. So, yeah, this was the game where, black needs to win. All right, very good. On board 4, black, used another very common checkmate. So the rook attacks the king. The king cannot move up because there is a guard there attacking this rank. So very good. And if you're white, I mean, don't get discouraged. Rated is definitely a whole different game than the novice section. Players here, they're really serious here. So just keep trying. I remember my first rated tournament, I may have only gotten a point or two. And lost a bunch of games. It's really tough. But just try to learn from the games. I've had tournaments where I didn't win a single game, and it's okay. You just got to keep going. All right, so we'll check back in with board 1 here. It's a very close game. Then you said reserve just started?
They're
Oh.
about to start their last
Oh, okay.
round.
Great. The future masters. Okay, so white won. All right,
so
so we two
round
complicated games.
Round 4 reserve just started.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised to see board 2 still kind of maneuvering around. Black trying to take advantage of the extra material, and white taking advantage of their extra space. I feel like white's made progress here. Yeah, they traded off that D pawn, so that seems to have been good. Yeah, like you can kind of tell, right, that like white has more space for their pieces. Now black has those 3 isolated pawns. Yeah, and it looks like white's decision to not trade bishop for knight, seemed to work out well for them. Because that knight, it's very nicely, it's on a nice square, but there's no really targets for it. It's like, what's that knight actually doing? No, this is a very good game. Oh, but the time, yes, that could be a problem. Like, see, these guys are so much closer in time. They have almost 3 times as much time as black. So time management can be a big deal, because like even if you get a great position, then if you're running low on time, you could spoil it.
Agreed.
Comes with experience.
Yeah, I know personally, I didn't play a tournament for a couple of years, and just getting back into it, my time management was horrible.
Same, yeah. I feel usually when we talk about kids, the problem is that they move too fast. But now, these guys are getting more advanced, and we start to see some more subtle time issues of just, poor management. Like, this shouldn't happen when your opponent has, almost half an hour and you're down to your 5 minutes. So, I mean, the person playing black's really strong, and I think, something that could help him get to the next level is thinking about his time management. Even if he pulls it out here, this could really hurt him in a different game. So just thinking about that. But yeah, see, now he's gotten his rook to a better file. Yeah, or sorry, rank. Well, yeah, file and rank. No, it's good. And I think he's moving a little bit faster too, so that's also good.
Yeah. Though if black just makes 5 really quick moves, he'll make up some time. But we definitely want to encourage everyone to be playing slow.
Yeah. Yeah, this is good. See, now that knight is... Oh, did he just drop it? Wait, why did I think that was a good move? Oh, maybe we were just both kind of blind there. No, for some reason, like, knight c3 looked good to me too. Oh no. Well, now white's completely winning. That's weird. It's like we were both blind on that square. I'm not sure why. All right, then. Well, so what just happened here? Did black just take a pawn?
And so it looks
No,
like
sorry, he took a knight. Okay.
2 games have concluded in primary.
So black should, yeah, black should be fine here. All right then. So black should win on board 5. White should win on board 2. Now that the leads are a little greater, let's go to a different section. Let's check back in. All right. Oh, so black's pulled ahead by a couple, well, by 1 piece. This looks like black's about to recapture. And then has reserve started?
Yes.
Okay. So looks like white should win on board 1 in primary and be the champion. Okay. Oh, cool. Board 1, we have opposite side castling. That always gets a really interesting game because the idea is just like attack. You can attack with pieces, you can attack with pawns. Okay. Yeah, knight h5. Definitely get some exchanges going. Check out the rankings. So, okay, so we do have someone who's 3-0. Bunch of people tied then for second. Yes. All right, so if black wants to tie for first, he's gonna have to win on board 1. Everybody's counting on him. Oh, we have more siblings playing on board 2.
Oh, they played each other in the last round last week or last tournament too.
I remember. Yeah, it looks like white got up a piece. And then over here, okay, white's up. And over here, board 4. Check. Is white up a couple pawns? 1 pawn. All right, it's very close. White's up a pawn, but just a pawn. Like the grandmaster level, a pawn is pretty much, if you're up a pawn, it's pretty much a win. But not here.
So let's go back to Future Masters. Looks like black got some material back. Oh wait, never mind. Wait, no, yeah, they did.
Oh, here?
Yeah, I just saw the rook go off the board and I thought I was seeing things, but yeah, looks like black clawed their way back in the game.
Very good, very good. So now they're just up a single pawn. It's going to be very close.
Yeah, definitely, things can change with the blink of an eye.
Yeah. Okay. Black's still in control on board 5. Oh, they traded rooks. Yeah, I don't know who that's going to benefit.
Yeah, so normally, I would discourage, trading pieces when you're down material. So even something like a pawn in an endgame, it's, so much more valuable.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to hurt the defender to trade that rook. But let's see. No, this is tough.
All right, looks like primary just finished.
Okay. What happened on board 1?
White defeated black.
All right. So, all right. Congratulations then. to the winner. I believe he was undefeated. Time to move up in that case, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Can't sit satisfied for too long. You know, you got to move up. And, you know, you'll get beat down a bit. You may end up, you know, at the bottom, but then you work your way back up.
And that's the thing, you know, when you're moving into a new section, it's tough at first, but then that's how you become a better player.
Like, you should be near the bottom. If you're always at the top of every tournament, then you're not challenging yourself. You're not going to get better.
Oh, I don't know why my computer just did that.
It's like cheering for him.
Yeah, so I just checked the standings and there was some music that was played.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's like, so is it white? Yeah, white. I mean, sorry, black, I guess, was really taking their time here. Yeah. But it looks like white made a mistake because now they're forced to trade bishops. So maybe white was trying to move fast because it's like, okay, I have so much more time. I'm going to try to get him on time. But the thing is, if you start moving fast, then you're putting yourself at the same disadvantage of the person who has less time. And look, white made a mistake. They allowed the bishops to get traded, and now the pawn endgame is, well, should be winning for black.
Yeah, I know from,
Let's see.
from experience that, if I see somebody, and this is something that I used to do when I was a kid, if somebody was down on time and I had the time advantage, I would try to play fast so that, they would have to make a move really quickly. But like you said, it's not really something you should do because you're kind of giving yourself the same disadvantage as the person who's forced to move fast.
Right. And you can also get them off their rhythm. If you like think a really long time, that it just puts so much more pressure on them because they have to be ready at any moment to whip out a move.
Exactly. They're like, when are they going to move? So it's definitely something that, where chess psychology plays a role.
Yeah, it's not even looking that close here. Okay, so good instructive game. Black, black made a big mistake, but then they came back. Okay.
I like that there's a lot of endings that we're seeing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like more than we've seen in the past. So if you're a person who's like, well, I never get endgames, well, you can see that as you move up and play stronger players, you will get endgames, and you need to know what to do.
Yeah, I mean, I know that especially at the scholastic level, what I've really seen is when you're first starting out, people are just handing you pieces. They're pretty much, putting up, the pieces on a silver platter and say, take me. But as you move up, less and less people make blunders. So
Yeah.
you're gonna have to learn to adapt to that. I mean, it's always nice when your opponent gives you a free queen, but that's not realistic, in the long term for chess.
And by the way, if you reach a position where, your opponent doesn't have any pieces and you have like 3 queens, that's not an end game. Like, even though there's not a lot of pieces left, that's not an end game. So, an end game would be where it's like even or close to even and there's not a lot of pieces. Sorry, I've been sort of sitting here, but it looks like black is winning. And yep, ditto on board too. All right, very good. Now, future masters, you guys have been very impressive. Some of you need to take your time, but overall, it's been very good.
Absolutely.
Mm.
taking, an extra, 30 seconds even to perform a quick blunder check could save you from a lot of, unfortunate things that can happen to you in a chess game.
The overactive king on board 4. Well, hey, I mean, you're trying. I mean, you only have your rook, so you have to have another piece, right? Why not use that king?
And king's a fighting piece.
As we all know. Okay, but I mean, black should win. That game was over.
I think white might actually have a trick.
Here? Yeah, we'll keep an eye. Yeah, white's still up a piece on board 2. And yeah, looks like we will have another clear winner in the reserve. Okay. All right, I guess we'll sit here. And yeah, future masters, then they have one more round. So we'll be waiting for them. Maybe things got a little closer than they had to be on board 1. But yeah, white should still get it.
Yeah. Okay, so future masters has 1 game remaining. But I think that game will be over shortly.
Yeah. Let's check out the active king. Mm-hmm. All right, so board 1 is finished. All right, good job, board 1. Yeah, that game looked pretty close. I'm not sure when white went up the piece, but that seemed, to have been all he needed. Oh, okay.
And you know what? They're still fighting.
He's trying.
That's why you never give up.
Yeah, I mean, he got his pawn down there. No, this is a little tricky.
Yeah, black has to be careful.
Yeah, I'm just going back and forth between this one and board 2. Yeah, I mean, board 2, it looks like it might be kind of a slow haul, but white should win this one. I mean, the extra knight is just too much. Yeah. Wait, I mean, black has some decisions to make. Okay, throws in a check.
All right, correct move with the king.
Yeah, you gotta keep him active. Yeah, I mean, black's good to like, at least try this, but like, I mean, what are you gonna do?
That's why they say a game's not over till it's over.
Yeah, so very good.
Definitely very happy. White, kept their head in the game.
So he throws in another check. Let's go back up here. Trying to figure out whose turn it is. All right.
All right, looks like Future Masters just finished their round 2.
Okay. All right, Future Masters. So if you're someone who's been moving really fast, please take this last opportunity to slow down. I mean, like I said, that I think one of the best things to do to help you slow down is before you move, have 3 possible moves in your head. It's going to take time to come up with 3 reasonable moves, and then you can start to analyze each one. So what happened on board 4? Could they have agreed to like a draw or something?
Is that what happened?
Well, I don't know. He only has 1 move. Why isn't white moving? All right. Well, yeah, like it's okay. I don't know. Maybe he went to the bathroom or something. I don't know.
All right, so Future Masters round 3 will begin momentarily.
All right. Is this the last round of reserve?
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, I think last time reserve finished well after Future Masters. So
Yeah, I remember that. It's funny. Well, yeah, Black's putting together a little something here. See how White responds.
all right, round 3 is beginning for Future Masters. I don't know, maybe on board 4, he's in deep calculation.
Maybe. So you said Future Masters just started?
Yes.
All right. French. More care. The King's Gambit. London. Kali. No, another Kali. All right. And we're off. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, what's cool about the King's Gambit is like right away your opponent's forced to think because it's a pretty rare opening to face.
Yeah, I know the King's Gambit is a pet opening of yours.
Yeah. Not sure if the opening's the pet or I'm the pet.
Yeah, I'm really wondering what's going on board 4. Maybe they have a connection issue.
Could be.
All right, so yeah, Future Masters looks like mostly everyone is taking their time.
So on board 3, yeah, Black took the Gambit. Fine. But you don't want to go C5 here.
So can you explain why?
It's better to develop a piece. All C5 does is kind of make the D5 square weak, the D6 square weak. Not sure what the purpose is.
Okay, so like as a King's Gambit player, if you saw C5, would you know, what would you think?
I'd be really happy because I can just, you know, keep doing my development, and I don't think they've really advanced their cause. Yeah, like we can just kind of see, and now the D file is pretty weak for Black.
Yeah, see, I'm not brave enough to play the King's Gambit.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, all the games, everybody looks solid. No big leads yet, except maybe did Black win a piece in this one? Yeah, looks like black got up a piece. So maybe this was the only game where one side is ahead. But yeah, everywhere else is pretty close. Yeah, so if you're black, maybe take another look at the King's Gambit. Take the time to research a better defense. But they're okay here. So okay, what are the standings? All right, Choco and Connor. And I'm guessing they're playing. All right, board one, big matchup. The winner would win the section. All right, so the French defense, they're both battling for control of the middle, in particular the pawn on d4. See, black's already using their knights to put pressure on the pawn. Sometimes they go queen b6 as well. Yeah, it's all looking pretty close. All right, we'll just keep an eye on the games. Yeah, did you ever figure out what happened in reserve on board 5? Or forget what board 4?
I just texted them asking if they were having a connection issue.
Is it still the same position?
Oh, yeah, he is having a connection issue.
Okay. Well, what I like about this software though is like even if you get kicked off, your time runs, but you don't automatically lose or anything. So that's kind of nice.
Okay. So they're saying that his move is not being recognized. So I just told him to refresh.
Okay.
Yeah, so sit tight, Ivan. Your opponent's just having a connection issue. We're working on it with them.
Okay. Yeah, White decided on this little tactic. So to discover the attack, move your bishop out of the way, pick up a pawn, and if rook takes bishop, queen picks up the knight. I mean, it's not all bad for black though. They will get the open H file, and since white's already committed their king on the to castle on the king side, it does provide a target on H2. But yeah, everything's holding steady. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
What happened?
okay. Yeah, it was drawn by threefold repetition.
Okay, so very good. White got out of that. I think black should have just like sacked their rook for the pawn, and they would have still been up a piece. Tried to go for the win, but very hard fought game. Good job, guys. Right. So are there any games left in reserve? Why not head over there? Oh yeah, this one. Okay. Right. So this was yeah. And that's a draw. So yeah, number 2. I mean, white's been up the piece for a while, but then black tried to make some weaknesses around white's king. Probably white shouldn't have allowed the queen to get to h3. And now, well, black's king actually doesn't look so hot either. But at least black has some counterplay. In fact, whose turn is it? Oh, it's white's turn. Yeah, white's made a little bit of a mess. Yeah, okay. Now this looks good. Have your pieces work together. So she's putting them on the same file so that they can protect each other. And, actually, she can play offense or defense now. Move the rooks back or move them forward. So that's a good move. Good move. So maybe we'll just wait here because they're getting kind of close to the end, and then Future Masters is still kind of, in the opening stages. We can go back to them. Yeah, so black decided to, do their own kind of defense, get their rooks together. Makes sense. You definitely don't want to allow rook to d8. That could spell disaster for the king. Yeah, it's good though. Black was able to trade off all the pawns on the queen side. I think that makes the defense a little easier. Another kind of factor here is the time differential. It's not extreme, but if white gets much lower, then it could be a problem. So like the situation would be totally different if they each had 6 minutes. But the fact that black has twice as much time, it just makes more pressure for your opponent. The fact that you have time to think about the position and they're always constantly on guard. They know they have to make a quick decision as soon as you move. No, but white's yeah, playing really well here. It's looking nice.
Definitely. I'm very impressed with the level of play today.
Yeah, queen e5 looks strong. Yeah, I mean, rook d7 was a very good move. No, that kind of broke black, to be honest. But good job to black to even making an opportunity for themselves to create threats. Like, it might not be enough. Like, you might still lose the game anyway. But maybe that one time out of, 20 or 50 games, you will get the win or get the draw.
Absolutely. And it helps you in the long run.
Yeah, if you're that player that fights no matter what the position is, I mean, then imagine if you actually had a advantage. Think about how hard you'd fight then. I see Black is trying to figure out what to do. Yeah, it's hard to come up with a good defense. Oh, they couldn't even have gone queen g4. All right, so white won that game. Good game, guys. Okay. Oh, right. So, reserve is over.
Okay, reserve just ended?
I believe so.
All right. Yeah, 4 out of 4 games completed. Great job, everyone.
So now we're back in Future Masters. Oh, I really feel bad for Black on board 5. He's a really strong player, and I feel like most of the time he does play these really long games. I don't know, it could just be rust, not sure, but I think just moving too fast is what led to his downfall. I know he's a much stronger player than what we saw here.
All right, so it looks like in the reserve, Eric got first, and then Arav and Haley tied for second. So congratulations.
Yeah, good job, everybody, and good job to our top 3. Okay, so Future Masters, we have board 5 is over, board 4 stuck in a rook endgame where white's up a pawn. Well, this is going to be tough to win. Definitely can't say this is winning, but white is, of course, has the advantage. So in rook endgames, the most important thing is to have an active rook. And the thing is here, white has not just material advantage, but also the more active rook. So that's not good for Black. Black's got to find a way to get some activity and get this rook out off of b8. Huh? Uh-oh. White lost their queen. Well, all right then. Black is winning and in contention for first in that case. That's right. These guys were both tied for first, so yeah. Oh, I guess white just made a blunder, lost the queen. Well, it happens. We all blunder from time to time. Not really something to be concerned about. Okay, board 2, very interesting. Yeah, that pawn on h6. See if white can maintain it there. Okay. Oh, and then my King's Gambit game. Yeah. I mean, I think if white was castle, they'd absolutely have a big advantage. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I see it looks like, bishop b4 prevents knight to d5, hitting the queen, putting a knight in the center. It does, however, relinquish control of the diagonal it was on. So, you know, just a compromise. All right, I definitely know what I would do as white in this position on board 3. See what white comes up with. And then, right, so we have the rook endgame. Which looks like black's made some progress. Yeah, okay, so they kicked the rook off the 7th rank. Okay, well, that should be a good one. So, okay, so we have the rook endgame, king's gambit game, and then like a closed up middle game. So I feel like board 2 is gonna take a while. Oh, good, white castled. Yep. Ooh, and I think definitely had this position a lot as white in the king's gambit. I think black could be in for some trouble. I also had this position, you know, as black also, where I'm just getting like the position's open and my king is in the center, and you know, bad things start happening. So been on both sides of this. Oh man. Yeah, white played this really well. So good job on board 3. All right, so it looks like then this game on board 4. Black's really done a good job here. I mean, they've completely shut down that rook. Well, no, I shouldn't say that, but oh, it was white's turn? Oh no. Well, that's not good. Well, if it had been black's turn and they could have gone a6 or something, then I think black has a decent chance to hold. I don't know though. Now that that pawn falls, well, black definitely. Oh, yeah. So black doesn't want to do this because the pawn endgame is completely lost. White has a passed pawn on on d4. White's about to win the pawn on a7. At least if you keep the rooks on, then you have a chance to maybe get your rook to the 2nd rank and get some counterplay. So, you know, just something you have to learn, you know, not to trade rooks in that situation. But yeah, very interesting game. Oh, my poor King's Gambit victim.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely seeing some games that are on the brink of finish.
Yeah.
But I'm very impressed with the play today. And I particularly enjoyed how much more time the Future Masters players took today.
Yeah, that's good, guys. Yeah, you know, good to see. Man, good to see some chess being played. Yeah, it looks like alright, so board 2. Alright. It's gonna have to be some calculation here.
Sure.
Maybe black just miscalculated. Let's see.
I thought white might have had a stronger move there.
On which board?
Or 2.
What did they just do?
Bishop c5.
Wait, whose turn is it?
It's black's turn.
Yeah, it's. Let's see. You thought white has something better?
Yeah.
Let's see, yeah. There was, like, white had a lot of tempting moves, for sure. And I don't understand, on board 3, how did it...
Yeah, how did that rook get out? Maybe he missed something.
Or, like, how did the bishop on c4 get taken? Was it like a queen c5 check, king h1, queen takes c4?
I think so.
I thought he had, like... I thought he had, like, one apiece, and then that would have been okay. Because now black doesn't look so bad. So I feel like something went wrong on board 3. I'm not sure. Like, I don't know. I have to, like, go back. Well, it looks like white's won a piece on board 2. So, looks good for them.
Like board 1 just wrapped up, and so did board 4.
All right. Well, congrats. And we have a winner.
On board 5 as well.
Yeah, board 5's been over for a while. Yeah. Board 4, white won after black traded rooks. Board 1, white lost their queen. But we have, well, okay. I mean, board 2, white should win. So board 3 is the closest game. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, black's up a piece now, and they don't look as weak as they were before. Yeah, bishop e6 was a good move.
Oh, they have a draw?
Oh, no, no, no. That's not what we want to see. Guys, you got to play that out. So can we tell who offered it?
I don't know.
Nah. Yeah, I mean, black, I think you're winning, to be honest. Because, like, white's attack kind of ended there. I mean, I have to really go back and look at what happened. I mean, I thought things were going so great, but maybe I misjudged it. Yeah, okay, so black, I mean, you're probably winning. And then even from white's perspective, like, I mean, yeah, it's just still played out.
Absolutely.
Like, it's a very complex position. Like, I mean, black's not castling anytime soon. You know, the queen's attacking d8, so black can't castle queenside. And actually, even that looks pretty dangerous. We don't want to see that. All right, well, then the only game left is board 2, and I mean, this looks, yeah.
It looks pretty good for white.
Yeah, white doesn't have really much to worry about. So, let's see. Like, I feel like, you know, all this playing online, you know, this is a chance to, you know, really be adventurous and maybe play positions you normally wouldn't want to play. You know, like openings you don't want to play, or like positions that maybe scare you a bit. You know, it's a good chance to just play those games. It's just online. Well, white has to decide on board 2. Are they going to try to trade queens? Are they going to protect the H pawn? What's the plan?
I guess we'll wait and see. But one thing that I definitely noticed was the disparity in time.
Good point. We've been talking a lot about that. You know, sometimes it's not even about how much time you have left. It's that disparity. Like, in like a longer time control, like even if I have half an hour, if my opponent still has over an hour, I could be headed for trouble. I don't want to get to a key position where they have time to think and I don't. So I mean, one thing you can do for time trouble is like just become more aware when you play your game, how much time you have left. Like maybe every 5 moves, write down the time you have left, or every move if you really want to. I mean, I don't do that, but I probably should. It would probably help me if I started writing down the time I have left. Another piece of advice I've heard is like, just have this like one tournament where you aim to never get in time trouble, which I would define as under 5 minutes. Like no matter what, just don't get under 5 minutes. I don't know. That seems a little extreme to me, but some advice I've heard from a really strong player. But I think the biggest thing is just like, if you notice yourself falling behind on time, then try to play a little faster. Unless your opponent's like playing instantly, but then you should be beating them anyway. So, because I guess like the one thing black has on board 2 is that if white just sort of drifts, they could get pretty low on time. Yeah, I mean, it's such a safe position for white, though. I can't really see much. Yeah, 95. Uh-huh. Looks good. Looks good. So, some big threats. Yeah. Looks like Black's replies are becoming more forced.
Definitely curious to see what happens in this game.
Yeah.
Oh, looks like some moves were made. Looks like Black went after that pawn, and White was able to get the f7 pawn.
Where Black had to do that, otherwise knight d7 would just destroy them.
Now here, I wonder what White's calculating here.
Yeah. You want to be careful of like perpetuals and things like that. But I think White definitely made the right decision. 95.
All right, looks like they went for check.
Okay, all right then. So, I think we know what's next. Okay, this way. Okay. Looks good. Yeah, good move. Yeah, I mean, like you, I've really been impressed with what these guys have come up with.
Very creative thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it should be quick.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that queen d5. All right.
Yeah, it should be over fairly quickly.
And wins the queen. Very nice.
All right, nice job, everyone. All right, we have concluded. Thank you for those of you who are still here with us. We still have 3 people watching, so, well, 2 because I'm watching also. So thank you for those 2 who are still watching. Definitely, great experience to be able to watch your kids' games and comment on them.
Yeah, it's just been great, from a coaching perspective. Yeah, and just seeing some really good chess.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, we still have room in our classes if you're still interested, so reach out to us. And our next tournament will be on August 15th, so in 2 weeks. So we hope to see you all there. And thank you again for watching.
Sure, thank you.
And it looks like we had, Choco again in first, and we had big tie for second with Jody, Advait, Connor, and Hunter all tying for second. So big, is that like a 4-way tie for second place?
Yeah, good job.
All right, so congratulations to everyone.